Did you know adding George Harrison to the Quarrymen had an unexpected hurdle? If you've gone down the Beatles rabbit hole at all, you've probably heard about George Harrison's famous bus ride audition where he impressed John Lennon by playing the song Raunchy, Note Perfect. But have you ever heard about George's second audition? See, Quarrymen drummer Colin Hanton had not been present for George's bus ride audition. But a few nights later, John and Paul invited Colin with them to scope out a new venue called the Morgue that Alan Caldwell, aka Rory Storm, would soon be opening. After touring the place, the group came to a room where George Harrison was already waiting with his guitar. Paul suggested that George play something, so George launched into an instrumental track called Guitar Boogie, which he played perfectly. Colin was impressed, and it wouldn't be too long before John and Paul asked whether he thought the band would be better with George. It was at this point that Colin started putting some things together, and I should note that these are all his own suppositions, but they make a lot of sense. Why get Colin's approval? After all, up to this point, all major Quarrymen decisions had been made by John, or now John and Paul, with minimal input from the others. But here's the thing, the Quarrymen already had 3 guitarists, John, Paul, and a boy named Eric Griffiths. Adding George would mean someone would have to go, and it certainly wasn't going to be John or Paul. But letting go of Eric presented a new problem. Eric Griffiths was good friends with Colin Hanton. John and Paul may have feared that, if Colin wasn't on board with getting rid of Eric, that he may have quit the band in solidarity with his friend. But Colin was a drummer, and drummers are historically hard to come by, so if they lost Colin, he'd probably be pretty hard to replace. So if they wanted to replace Eric with George, they probably wanted to make sure that Colin was on board. And so they'd set up a special audition at the Morgue, knowing that if Colin could just hear George play, he'd be just as impressed as they were. And of course, Colin was impressed, and he agreed to the change, although he realized that this probably meant that his own days in the group were numbered too. But that's another story. And hey, if you'd like to help me out, please like, comment, share, and repost. And don't forget to follow and subscribe for more history, reviews, insights, and other bits of the Beatles.